Dictator William Ruto is copying the bad manners from Nyeri County MUSEVENI of intimidating political opponents. Yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua's car was burned to ashes. Rigathi Gachagua is the former deputy president who is also a contender who wants to unseat William Ruto. In fact, the car that was burned is here.
Mheshimiwa Gachagua imechomwa na imechomwa na maafisa wa polisi wa Othaya. Maafisa wa polisi wa Othaya ndio wametekeleza hichi kitendo. Gari ya Mheshimiwa Gachagua imechomwa na imechomwa yote kaka. Kwa maguzi. Hiyo. Angalia kaka kuna kitu tunaweza toa. Kujana maji tuzime gari. So guys, hii ni gari ya Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua. Ndio hii gari ya Rigathi Gachagua imepigwa. Gari ya Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua imechomwa. Ndio imechomwa na imechomwa yote kaka.
Kwa magunzi.
Ndio hiyo.
Wavuna gari zote hapa.
Maafisa.
That is Rigathi Gachagua's car. If I see such things happening, it shows you how Kenya is degenerating. And Kenya has been a yardstick, a democratic yardstick on which East African countries are pushed to test. If such things are happening, you must cry for my beloved country. Rigathi Gachagua is being attacked in his home base. Okay? To an extent that people with guns came out to shoot at the people, to shoot at Rigathi Gachagua's car. In fact, another video is here.
Huyo ndiye security wake. Kijia ametolewa kwa church, ndio huyo. Ndio huyo mdosi.
So you clearly see how Dictator Ruto is running the country. And by the time you will know, it will be too late. In fact, I'm even regretting the support I rendered to William Ruto. He looked cunning. William Ruto had told us about him. We failed to understand. So the purpose of this video, I've come to talk about Rigathi Gachagua's attack and how he's supposed to handle it, what means for our politics, and most importantly, the study materials we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagali. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, it is not by mistake that Rigathi Gachagua is attacked in Nyeri in his home base. And in fact, the greatest mistake that's being made by Gachagua is heeding to the games that are being put up by William Ruto. What are those games? You can see that every time Rigathi Gachagua is attacked is in his stronghold. That is Nyeri, where he comes from. They want to keep Rigathi Gachagua in the mountain. And even Rigathi Gachagua is keeping himself in the mountain. If it was Raila Amolo Odinga, he wouldn't heed to these games. He would refuse. Trust me, he would refuse. Because every time Rigathi Gachagua wakes up, he's in the mountain. In fact, today, if it was Rigathi Gachagua, I would move out, okay, to resist these unconstitutional tendencies by moving out in other regions. One of the fertile ground is the Western Kenya in the Luyas. In fact, may I pray that Rigathi Gachagua picks a running mate from Western, but every time they tear gas in your home area and you also keep yourself in that area, you are playing at the games of Ruto. The reason why Raila was so unique, he never heeded to these things. In fact, it was even risky for you to attack Raila Molding in Kisumu. It will be a revolt. Rigathi Gachagua should rethink, because William Ruto is a crude politician, is a dictator. In fact, let me first play with the tape as the church was eating tear gas. Here's the tape. That is the church as we were eating tear gas. So for me, one, Kenya is degenerating. Kenya is the biggest democracy in East Africa. To see such things happening, we must start crying. Because if the axis of Kenya breaks democratically, what about other countries like Uganda? We are under an authoritarian. Rwanda the same. Sudan hasn't even figured out where it is. Burundi, etc. Somalia. So for me, I'm concerned in the Kenyan politics more. Because even when we have differences, we tend to run to Kenya. Since independence, in the 1980s, MUSEVENI had a peace talk agreements in Nairobi. So first of all, it is not even okay for a church to be attacked. Goons were holding guns in civilian clothing. And you hear some government propaganda saying that Gachagua did that to himself. Sober minds are supposed to speak up. So one, for me, I think Rigathi Gachagua is playing wrongly. They want to refine him within the mountain Kenya, and Ruto has been successful. They attack you in your homestead instead of taking that somewhere else. Even if you attacked, Raila Molding was attacked severally in other regions. It's time for William Ruto, for Rigathi Gachagua to start moving in the Western. Western is a fertile ground. In fact, for me, I want Rigathi Gachagua to pick a running mate from Western, because that's where the battle is going to be. Kisumu, okay, the Nyanza region is going to vote for William Ruto. It's sealed. They can never vote another person. So the battle must be taken to the Western, because Western has some credible figures like Governor Natembeya is already opposing Ruto. Or sources speaking another language, Sifuna. So Rigathi Gachagua should stop entertaining himself in a mountain Kenya where battles are meted to him, to particularly to keep him there. He should start moving out, so that he can take the battle to where he's supposed to be. But what is being done, the bad man is being copped from Uganda, which is unfortunate. Of course, it's my opinion, remain yours truly, Mr. Makindi. Kabir Sulaiman Mahagal. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment, so that I can be motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.